Hello one and all, this is your lovely host Acularius, and today we're going to do a first look commentary of the game Forts. Now, Forts is an action strategy game, or that is the tags on Steam. It is also done, published, and developed by Earthwork Games, and it was released April 19, 2017. This information is also in the first look video. That being said, if you're unaware of the format of first look commentaries, please refer to the format playlist. The video format first look commentary version July 2017. So that will be what we follow. So getting into this, one of the things I did enjoy was the tutorial. Actively engages the users to try out the controls. The single player campaign I felt was pretty well done. It's slowly introduces you over time to the variety of objects, your weaponry, how to build things, the controls, and objects in play as it progresses. And it's pretty solid, so that's all I can really say. Now, I put a fair amount of emphasis on this, but I speak pretty well. That I didn't have too many points to say about it. Like I don't think I could really improve it. I have more criticism in other areas than this, so I give it top marks, I would say, for tutorial-wise. I thought it was well designed. So we're going to hop right over to the graphic user interface. So one of the things I'll start out is it's rather intuitive. It's pretty easy to pick up. Now this is like a thing for both control and GUI. They mesh together in a lot of areas. So as we're going through the tutorials, now there's a hotkey for repairing. You just mouse over and you just click the repair button, and that's great, but no hotkeys for building. Given the pace of the game, I'm surprised that it's either not a thing or not mentioned in the tutorial. Remember, I'm basing this off an hour gameplay, so if it's in the controls or something that I missed, but it should have been probably mentioned earlier. Likewise, I wish I could upgrade by hovering my mouse over an object and hitting a button. That I feel would have been far better than clicking on the object and then hitting the upgrade button. I feel that's just a waste of an opportunity. I wish I could tab through building objects instead of just directly clicking on them and then dropping them where I want them, or give them numbered keys based on the keyboard. So you know how you have like your building materials area, you have like your wooden structure. Then you have like wooden background bracing, and then you have like your armored walls. I wish I could do like 1, 2, and 3, or the rope. I wish I could click on a number on my number pad, and I can just access that and do it that way instead of having to go back and forth between the GUI and the game. So that being said, I do appreciate the tooltips in place. They're short and to the point. It's really well done. I do have an issue with where total resources and gathering rate. I'm not a big fan. Like, maybe it's just me, but I'm more used to like I come from a strategy game background, and most of the time your resources that you actively need are in your top bar somewhere, usually on the top left. But in this case, it was in my bottom right, which is somewhere I typically look for, say, like a map or something not as vital, because when I'm looking at a screen, my emphasis is usually more on the top where the game is, and easily accessible information. It probably would have been better on the top, my opinion, but it's not too bad. That's just what I would have preferred. So moving on to controls, I do like the drag and drop structure building. It's pretty easy to get to. Again, I wish there were some like hotkeys in place. And I also was a fan of the click and play, so I did enjoy that. Like, these are controls that I understand, and they were pretty easy to get into, and they reacted pretty well. But that being said, like, all in all, as mentioned in the GUI section, I would have appreciated more hotkeys or been introduced to them sooner if they did exist. As I will mention multiple times throughout this is based off of the hour playtime, so there's enough there that I should be able to. So controls, GUI, we're finished with those for now. So we're going to move on to game systems and emerging dynamics. So I like the pace of which they were introducing me to all these objects. I thought it was decent. And I felt that there was enough time to line up your shots in these scenarios, these tutorial scenarios, the campaign, but not too much time as you have all day. So there's a little bit of pressure to take your shot, but at the same time, you're not rushed. You're not like clicking away and hoping you get it. There's also a memory, basically of your last shot, so you have a rough idea where you were and maybe what you need to adjust based off that. That being said, it was pretty vital in the single player campaign, but I don't recall like a message stating that I needed a certain amount of barrel points to progress. So maybe maybe I missed that. I went through the video, maybe I missed that again, but I didn't see a specific message about that. So if it wasn't for like a user watching the game, I would have thought the tutorial ended right there because I didn't have enough points to progress. That probably should have been made more clear. So overall, I like a lot of things that I've seen. So we're gonna move into the secondary stuff. A lot of this is like subjective to my opinion. So if you agree with my opinion on things, like this will go your way. But if you don't, take it with a grain of salt. So we're gonna get into secondary. So the this isn't in the format, but campaign story I thought was fun. It was well done. Naming conventions, false terms that revolve around guns and games. And so much as I can tell, I'm no gun expert. Seems like a salvo, for salvo, shock and awe, and scattershot, obviously. I won't give them all out. It's pretty fun, and I am a big fan of satire. I appreciate satire, so it was well woven into the story. A lot of little bits here and there. Hopefully, it doesn't age this too much as the game progresses, like as this continues on. But I thought it was a nice touch. Moving into art design. I thought the palette was rather calming, which is good, but at the same time, it's not restrictive. Consistent character design, like it had this cartoony, feel to it, and it was nice. Animations are satisfying, short and relevant. So a miner is like picking away in the mines. They're short, they're not too like elaborate, and it's really well done. This is more of a GUI issue, but maybe categorized by what the object does. Like what I was noticing is when I was putting down objects for mining and that, like we had the metal mine in one spot, and then separated by a wind turbine is the metal mine storage, or like the metal storage. I would have liked them grouped together, maybe given a different icon for the storage. Same thing with energy, and so like as far as I could tell with the hour gameplay that I had, like group them together because you're probably gonna build them in the same go. And give them something relevant. So like give battery like a battery icon, so it's like an energy storage, or give the mining storage like a cart or a silo instead of like the pickaxe. Just by a quick look, I might have confused it with the metal mine. No, I really didn't, but make it more clear. I feel, because the mining pickaxe is, to me, it represents more like gathering materials, not storing materials, which is conflicting. Sound design. No, when I stream, I typically don't have music and such too loud. But from what I could tell, based on what I could hear here and there, I liked it. It was pretty decent. Now for sound effects, they were satisfying. I thought they were well done. Things sound like I would expect them to. They seem to meet the standards. So machine gun sounds like a machine gun, and sound is pretty easy to modify. I did like those options. And the explosion of the reactor is really satisfying. It's really nice. So that meshes in with art design as well. I really like the animation with that. It's a nice way to end a level. That being said, we're going to move on to the conclusion. Do I recommend it? Yes, with some stipulation. One, I think the single-player campaign, and by extension tutorial, is enjoyable in its own right. I enjoyed the story. I like satire. That being said, because it's the first look, I didn't get too much into the sandbox mode and multiplayer. Now, this is where I suspect it really shines, and it's probably really good. But I definitely enjoyed the single-player campaign, so I suspect those would be pretty decent too. If you can grab a bunch of friends to play this with, or you're in a community, that's fun. I expect this to be fantastic, particularly over maybe a few drinks. Please don't drink if you're underage. Ooh. All in all, yeah, I would recommend it. But you probably want, maybe a couple people to play this with. So if you're on the fence, but you know people that you can play this with, I would get it. Definitely if they already have it. So yeah, have a blast, everyone. If you want to help the channel grow, like, favorite, subscribe. If you want to join the growing community over Discord when you have a rough idea when I stream and all that, it's about a click away off of my channel. If you want to help the channel financially so we can do more fun things, there's both PayPal donations and Patreon subscriptions over off of my channel. You can just click away and whatever is easiest for you. In the end, though, have a great day. This is your host, Acularius, signing off.